Hi Mortgage Heroes, Andy Cruz here in Business Development, and this is Monday Mortgage Minute. Welcome back to a new week, and you'll remember that 2 weeks ago I said the week after the 4th of July is going to be a really important week. This is that week. So why is this an important week? This week we're going to get the CPI number and the PPI number, both which are going to tell us where we are at with measured inflation. As we've been talking about for weeks and months now, the inflation number is weighing very heavily on the Fed's decisions to increase their short-term federal funds rate. Now, with that, of course, comes their sentiment about how they feel about the overall economy, what that means for the bond and rate markets, and where we're going next. This week's reading is really important because in 2 weeks, we're going to get the next Federal Reserve statement on their short-term interest rate increase. And of course, that is pegged at 75 basis points, which is 0.75%. Now, of course, this week may or may not have a very big influence on what that decision is because their comments up to this point and their meeting notes have basically stated they're going to do whatever they have to do in order to rein in inflation, and they can kind of lean on the fact that we have good employment information out to justify that decision. Now, I'm not going to get into the weeds of how the employment information is measured and people coming into employment for the first time and people rolling off of their benefits. I don't want to get stuck on that. But it is at least supporting their decision that they can continue doing these rate increases until inflation comes back in check. Now, the difficult part is to get back to their target number of 2%. We are really far off from that. We're in the 8s. In order to get back down to 2%, that means we're going to have a long period of time where we're underneath that in order to get from 8 back down to 2. So this week's number is going to give us some sort of finger on the pulse and give a temperature of where we're at as far as costs of goods going, because right now it just seems like it hasn't been stopping because the numbers are showing that it hasn't. And we need to see, again, like I've been saying, a leveling off before we see a little bit of a downturn in inflation, which will give us a little bit of hope and some silver lining that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So this week, as far as rates are concerned, I'm expecting things to be uneventful for the days leading up to the CPI and PPI coming out, because those are going to be basically validations and verification of what direction the market and the economy is going to go. So expect at the front end of the week, very little volatility, but once the CPI number comes out, expect some volatility either against us or in our favor, and that's going to be contingent on what that CPI inflation number comes in at. Now, there is a caveat, and the caveat is that a lot of people are saying, oh, it's already been priced in. The Fed's decision is already priced in. Inflation continuing is already priced in. There is some argument to be made for that. However, the data does not suggest that it's completely priced in, because if it were priced in, you would see a much different effect happening in the financial markets. You might see the equity indexes going back up again, and they've been struggling for the last couple of weeks to regain some new support and return to their all-time highs. That's not happening. So I think the market is waiting to see exactly where they can safely put their money, because in times of uncertainty, they're looking at commodities, they're looking at currencies, they're looking at bonds, they're looking at equities. And right now, the general consensus is there's not a real safe place to run to, which is why each of these economic releases is so important to kind of shape the picture of where we're going in the next 3, 6, 9, and 12 months. So for those of you that are in the market, you're looking to lock your rate this week, I would suggest you do that on a day where it's not as volatile as it could be towards the middle and the end of the week. If you are not in a position where you can lock your loan and you have to wait, then you're just going to have to wait and bide your time. Look at some alternative options like buying down your rate, looking at a short-term ARM. Look at some other alternative methods to get yourself into the lowest rate possible right now when there is still some uncertainty, but with the big picture knowing that you're going to stay in this place for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, especially those of you who are making that summer move, going to the neighborhood where you want your kids to be going to school through that whole elementary, middle school, and high school season of life. If that's you, you're marrying the home, you're dating the rate. Marry the home, date the rate. The rate is something we can come back to when the market's going to soften again. There is going to be that other side of the coin. We've talked about this in previous videos too. The Fed can't make all these decisions and all these policy changes without there being another tilt of that teeter-totter back the other direction, where there has to be some easing in the monetary policy in order to spurn lending again, because lending is what helps make this entire system go round and round. So what you're looking at right now is temporary. The duration of its temporariness is really what's in question. Those of you who are looking to do cash out still, you have equity at all-time high, you're still looking to get that cash out to pay off debt consolidation, pay off student loans, stock some money away for a rainy day. Make sure you're staying in close contact with your loan officer so you can make sure that you're taking advantage of the right day to lock your loan. And of course, always work expeditiously and work proactively to put yourself in the best position to take advantage of a down day in the market when the rates might be in your favor by 1/8% or 1/4% or even more. Those are the day you want to make sure you have everything lined up, you're already ready to go, so that when the lock comes in, you can get it at the lowest rate possible. As always, please feel free to share this video with people you know, like, and trust. And if we can help you specifically, please leave us a comment, send us a direct message, email or text or call your loan officer. Let us know what we can do to help you win in mortgage and real estate in 2022. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next week.